job, a counselor's job, is really customer service.
Welcome to the LynnCAM TV Show, where we focus on organizations who are working to make their impact in the Lynn community and the community surrounding us. Here with me today from Project Bread, we have Noreen Kelly, who is the Director of Community Initiatives. Noreen, thanks for being here today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So, as many of you know, and some of you don't, Project Bread is an organization that is dedicated to feeding the hungry. If you're joining us right now and you're looking to find some more information on the organization, you can visit www.projectbread.org. They're on Facebook at Project Bread, Twitter at Walk for Hunger, and Instagram at Project Bread. If you want to give them a quick call and ask them firsthand, you can reach out 617-723-5000. So Noreen, we were talking a little bit about the show. A lot going on at Project Bread,
Yes.
as it is every single year. We're talking about the longevity of the organization. You guys have been around for about 50 years, so that is an outstanding amount of time to actually be feeding the hungry and be successful at it. We're talking about the outreach that you guys do. We're going to talk a lot about the organization, but first and foremost, just to give our guests an idea of who you are and what your responsibilities at the organization are, let's talk a little bit about you.
Well, thanks for asking. My position is Director of Community Initiatives at Project Bread, and there's several things. I wear a lot of hats there, we all do, and one of the hats I wear is I oversee our Food Source, Project Bread's Food Source Hotline. The Food Source Hotline is a critical program that connects people who are food insecure or hungry with all kinds of programs. We can talk more in depth about that as we go along,
Yeah.
but that's one of the programs I oversee, and that is statewide, and it helps families here, right here in Lynn. 800 number that is available, you know, Monday through Saturday, and it's just a great service. In addition to that, we also, Project Bread wears the hat of a funder, and we give out money, and I work on that program, making sure there's all kinds of programs across the state.
Right.
At Project Bread, we really believe the opposite of hungry is not full, but healthy.
Right.
So we have a lot of programs that focus on making sure that people access fresh, healthy, affordable food.
And you were mentioning before, I mean, like between like the calorie intake, I mean, like this is literally like an effort for nutrition and healthy diet, which is outstanding to me because, you know, when you hear like, oh, feed the hungry, it's like make sure that these people are full, but actually you're working to make sure that they're nourished
Yes.
as opposed to like feeling full, which is
It's a big difference.
Big difference.
Yes,
big
exactly.
Difference. So
And that's really, I think that's where our work has, you know, we've been around for 50 years,
Right.
but that's really one of the shifts in our work over the last 10 years is it's not just any food, but, you know, low income and working poor people need access to the best food. So, you know, and that's why sometimes you find that, you know, someone could be low income and hungry and maybe obese because they're eating all the inexpensive foods like, say, pasta. So our goal is really to have people have healthy, well-rounded meals and access to what we call fresh.
Yeah, and you not only that are you creating access, but you're educating people
Oh,
on,
yes.
on the idea too.
Yeah.
The Project Bread organization is famous for their Walk for Hunger, held on May 1st every single year at the Boston Common. So if you're working to do some volunteer or maybe give back, this is a great event. It draws thousands of people, and every year it's a great success. We'll be talking a little bit about the Fall Harvest Fest, which is going to be happening on October 28th, 6 p.m. at Boston Design Center. But first and foremost, I'd like to get into the organization, its mission. We've talked a little bit about what your overall goal is, but the history. How did Project Bread come about? I mean, where did it start? Why did it begin?
Well, you know, hunger really is a symptom of poverty, and people have been poor here in Massachusetts and across the country for a long time. But it really started at the Paula Center, which is right down from the State House. And a group of concerned individuals decided to, it was the very first what they call pledge walk, the very walk for a cause idea. They kind of created, Project Bread is known for creating the concept of walking for a cause. And a group of people started a route, 20 miles, and the idea was, the 20-mile thing was about the idea of sacrifice too, like trying to put yourselves in the shoes of a hungry person, and they raised money by mile or for participating in the walk. And over the years, the the walk has grown from a small group to right now we have anywhere between 40, 50,000 people come out on a day. We create a small city is what we say. And there is such an incredible feeling that day. You can't even speak to it, in that people come out as a caring community saying, I am walking for my neighbor. I am walking for someone who can't have enough money to put food on the table. It's a great event.
Talk about leading by example. I mean,
Yeah.
I never knew that. I never knew that the whole walking concept was pioneered by Project Bread. That's really interesting. I mean,
Yes.
right here in the state of Massachusetts.
Right.
You know what's really neat to me is like, there's always the idea of like leadership, right? And like everybody wants to be the leader, but sometimes there's a little bit more in the follower. Because it's like you get, I can't remember where I saw it, but there, on the internet, you've got millions of videos that hit you every day. And there's this guy and he's dancing and it's crazy. And then this other guy just walks over. Everybody's just watching him. He's alone.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
the other
yeah.
guy walks over and then
yes.
it's a big party. Like,
Yes.
it's a great example of what you
Yes.
guys are trying to achieve here. And
Yes.
you've done it. I mean,
Yes,
you've
yes.
gone from a couple hundred people to thousands of people
Right.
in a span of less than 50 years. I mean,
And Lynn actually has a very good lots of people from Lynn come and participate in our walk. We know
Right.
the numbers. And I think that what you're saying is that there's the leaders in the but I think everyone is a leader in their community.
Right.
Because they, not only do they walk themselves, but they're getting sponsors to pledge them and raising dollars. And it raises awareness too. I think that the walk is a very visible. For that first Sunday in May, whenever that falls, every year, the first Sunday in May, people pour out, come onto Boston Common and walk along. You can walk 1 mile or 10 miles,
Right.
but everyone comes out and they have a common cause together and create a new community, communities coming together. And so, yeah, it's an amazing event, and it has that feeling like I am part of something really
Right.
big.
That's a big draw today, especially for a lot of people. I mean, everybody's looking to become part of something, or maybe give back in a way that they can. But at the same time, we all have our work lives, family
Yes,
lives. So,
right.
timing is everything.
Right.
But, I mean,
It's the celebration of spring. For us, they say, oh, spring has arrived when you participate. Get your walking shoes ready and get going down the track, and you're with a lot of other people. It's a really fun event. We have a lot of young people, but we have people who've been walking with us. They're like 80, so everyone can participate.
Right.
It's the walk.
Another thing that's really interesting is like the amount of advocacy that happens. I mean, like the awareness that you create just from the walk alone. I mean,
Yes.
People are like, what's going on here today? And it's like, oh, Project Bread. And what's Project Bread? What do they do? And then they find out, wow, there are people who are hungry in Massachusetts. Maybe,
Right.
we create some initiative for them to get involved with your organization.
Well, I do think sometimes that hunger can be invisible. Because, oftentimes when you see pictures of people who are hungry, it's other third world countries where you see the big swollen bellies.
Right.
Here, people, it's back to that good nutrition. Families are skipping meals. Maybe they have 2 meals, but they're skipping dinner. The kids are getting meals at schools, but they're not getting a meal at home because those are free and reduced. And so I think that sometimes it can be invisible. People could be working poor families, really struggling to put food. They have to pay the rent and the health. And then maybe what's squeezed on is the food budget. It's not really flexible, like we were talking earlier. You have to eat every day.
Right.
And you should be eating 3 times a day, and it should be good food. But that's not easy for a lot of families who are really working at minimum wage or.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can't.
And right here in Lynn, there's lots of families struggling with
Right.
that issue.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the program, and it really comes down to the amount of money that people make and what they have to invest in their diet.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's going to be about providing the shelter. So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
tough to live in New England. I mean, you
Yeah.
need to have shelter here.
This winter, right?
Yeah. I'm
for
looking
sure.
forward to it. I love the winter. I love it.
I'm
It's
a fan of winter.
Yeah. It's like everybody stays indoors. And you can kind of snuggle up, and nobody judges you for it. Anyway, so I want to take a quick break. We're here at Project Bread, Noreen Kelly, and we're discussing the organization as a whole. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about some of their services and programs that they offer specifically. So stay tuned.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to the shelterpetproject.org and meet a few who are in a shelter near you. Harlow. Oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo. is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to the shelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Everything looks good on our end. Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Welcome back to the LynnCAM TV Show. We're here with Noreen Kelly of Project Bread, who is the Director of Community Initiatives. We're talking about the organization. Project Bread is most famous for the Walk for Hunger, which happens on May 1st of each year. So if you're looking for an opportunity to volunteer and get out and make your impact for a good cause, you can reach out to Project Bread at projectbread.org. You can give them a call, 617-723-5000. They're also on Facebook at Project Bread, Twitter at Walk for Hunger, and Instagram at Project Bread. Noreen, so we've covered a lot right now. We talked a little bit about you, your responsibilities, the overall concept of Project Bread, a statewide organization which is working to stamp out hunger. And on top of it, you know, you're actually working to create initiatives in regards to healthy eating and lifestyles. We're coming back right now to this segment to talk a little bit about the programs. Now, you monitor a hotline. We want to talk about that a little bit more in depth and what it can offer to people. Let's go there.
Well, in order to have to be able to eat healthy, you need resources, right? And so the Project Bread's Food Source Hotline does a couple of things, but mostly it tries to connect people with lots of different resources. But one of the main resources here in Massachusetts and across the country is called SNAP, the SNAP program, which used to be formerly known as the Food Stamp Program. Now it's called the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And SNAP is one of the biggest ways to boost low-income families' ability to buy food. What's nice about SNAP, it gives people the choice. You know, it's a supplemental program. Families can make up to a small family can make add another over $200 to their income each month, and that's a lot of money when you go to the store. And they also get to choose, you know, good, healthy food and be able to shop themselves. The hotline, what it does is if people call in, they can screen them to see if they're eligible for the program. Lots of people think if they're working, they're not eligible, but working poor people are eligible for the SNAP program. It's a food assistance program. And I think that's really important to know. Elders sometimes think, oh, I'm on a fixed income or I have, you know, subsidized housing. They also are eligible. And oftentimes elders may not have access to walk into a place, and so we can actually help people apply right over the line. In the past, it's just screening, but we actually can help people apply and do assist them with their applications and submit them online, since the state now has an online version of the SNAP application. And again, that is a real boost to people's buying power.
Now, can you speak to any numbers on how many people call the hotline on a daily basis? What demographic of people that you're helping in regards to a small community like Lynn, you know, compared to Boston or New York or something like that? You know, how you guys, I mean, who's reaching out to you?
Yeah, well, you know, each year we answer about 50,000 calls. But in Lynn, it's several hundred. We would like to see more people from Lynn calling because they may not know about the resource. Typically, it's a mix of people. We have, you know, working people, people with families, and we actually have a high percentage of elders that call. Again, elders sometimes are the people who don't have access to information. Families get it through schools and other resources. But there's really a mix of people. We have an important feature of our hotline is that the Food Source Hotline is that we have a language line, and so we can do up to 160 languages. You know, Lynn is very diverse. We have Spanish speakers and we have several languages right on our own team. We speak 8 languages, and then in addition to that, we use other services so we can connect callers and interpret calls for up to 160 languages, which is really a nice feature.
Wow. One thing that's significant about Project Bread and its efforts are every year it seems that there's a new service going on. There's a new program that comes about. And you guys are very active in regards to gaining feedback. I mean, the research that goes into it. This organization is sound. I mean, really, I mean, There aren't a lot of organizations that are as proactive as Project Bread, in my opinion. I really believe that because it changes every year. And when you talk about continuous improvements, I mean, it's like, do you get an hour to discuss it? Because that's what it's going to take. Some of the other programs that you guys offer, one very big one around here in the Lynn community is you do some funding for some of the Parks and Recs community events that they have, whether it be a baseball camp or football camp, and that enables kids to get a meal in them. Like you said, I mean, this is a daily event. You got to eat every single day. You know, you're supposed to be eating 3 times a day, but what you eat really matters. So I want to talk a little bit about that. But first and foremost, I want to talk about like how you work with the urban development. So you had mentioned also like growing food is an issue.
Yes.
This is something that you guys focus on as well.
Yes, I think that some of the traditional ways of helping people, which are good ways, is maybe a local, like here, my brother's table, a local soup kitchen, or local food pantries, that people traditionally have gone to some of those resources. But in addition to that, when we went out and talked to people, people have pride. And a lot of people, you know, can grow food, and backyard gardens, community gardens, urban agriculture is a way for people to help themselves. Here in Lynn, you do have the food project, which we invest our dollars in, and then, you know, other people do as well. And the food project does a great job in their community gardens. They also participate in the Lynn's Farmers Market. A lot of people don't know that if you are enrolled in the SNAP program, you can what they call double your SNAP at the Lynn Farmers Market. So you boost up your buying power there, usually up to $10. So you spend 10, you get $20 worth of vegetables.
Wow.
And I think that urban agriculture, really, lots of people, and particularly some immigrants that have come from countries where they're growing food. And so a backyard garden could be a really good resource for a family to boost the fresh and access to fresh on their table each day. So we really believe that it's not one solution to hunger, but a set of solutions. Not one size fits all. For you, you know, if you have your child and they go into a school, local school, getting a free and reduced meal is going to boost your income and help you to spend more money on your dinner.
Right.
But in other people, participating in the community garden could be a great way to have access to fresh and boost your buying power.
In regard to the amount of people, which is tens of thousands, that Project Bread help and service, there's no way that you guys can do it on your own. There are some collaborations that are in place, and outside of, you know, providing food and meals, like you guys are providing funding for organizations like the Food Project, for the Farmers Market, the Food Pantry. Let's talk about some of your collaborations.
Here in Lynn, I'll talk local,
Sure.
But one of my favorite programs in Lynn that we have invested in is because I love when we start very early on. So Lynn Economic Opportunity Council, usually referred to here as LEO, runs the Head Start. And with with the Head Start programs, several years ago, we partnered with them, and we provided we have a Chefs in Schools, a Chefs in the Community program. And Chef Vanessa worked directly with Lynn Head Start to do culinary training for their staff so they could improve the quality of the meals that they were providing for these children each day. And Lynn, I'm not sure of the numbers, but in any one site there could be 200 children we're talking about.
Yes.
They run several sites. So, but they do culinary training for the staff. They also do educational activities with kids. Some kids, if their parents can't afford it, haven't seen some of the fresh produce. So we introduce, at a very young age, these kids are 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, the idea of eating fresh vegetables. And we also do a parent workshop once a month with the parents where we would teach a recipe, show them how to cook it, and maybe also provide some groceries for those families to practice at home. But it's one of my favorite because I really believe in helping kids at a very early age to start to eat well and know what good food is about. Is going to help them, because all studies show, as we talk about the research that we do, and we've done plenty of that, partnering with Harvard School of Public Health and other big partners, is that, you know, a hungry child cannot learn. That has been proven by many research. And so you don't want a child going to school hungry because they're not going to be prepared to learn, and then that perpetuates, you know, lots of problems. And they're sick more often, they miss school. The dropout rates for kids who are food insecure is higher. So we really want to give kids a good start to the day with meals. And that's why our school work, Head Start is a really, you know, great project, but we do a lot of work in the schools too to make sure that the food the kids are getting is at the highest quality.
Now, what's really intriguing to me is the fact that, I mean, like you guys came up with an idea and it just drew so much attention. There were so many people who were passionate about this. I mean, you work with these people on a day-to-day basis. I mean, are there any correlating reasons why people get involved with Project Bread? Is it a sentimental thing, or?
Oh, well, first of all, we are the only statewide anti-hunger organization. So we have a statewide visibility, and we touch every community, and we touch them in lots of different ways. Because I was just saying, we touch parents, we touch kids, we touch elders. There's programming for we touch immigrants. So I think that we have a wide reach. And I think the other thing is we've been around and well established for nearly 50 years. And I think, as you said, we keep changing. We listen to people who are the experts to hunger are the people who are experiencing it. We know that. They know what they need, and we try to listen to what they think are the good solutions and help to push those things forward, whether through public policy and legislature activities or by small community efforts. Again, it takes multiple solutions to kind of support, multiple kinds of people who are hungry.
Right. Just kind of piggybacking off that, it takes a lot of people to make this
Yes.
successful. So in the nonprofit sector, you've got the people who need your help and need your assistance, but then you've got the people who want to volunteer.
Yes.
And that's part of why we're here today too.
Right.
So say we've got somebody at home right now and they're like really passionate about it. Project Bread is the organization I want to dedicate my time to in regards to my volunteer initiative. How do they reach out to you?
Well, the best way, obviously, is to call our number, 617-723-5000, and they would connect with the volunteer coordinator. We have lots of opportunities throughout the year. Obviously, the walk is the biggest. We use 2,000 volunteers the day of the walk, and we use volunteers leading up to that. Organizing your school to have walkers is a way of participating with us, and there are other opportunities throughout the year as well. I mean, Project Bread really has always used volunteers as part of the way we accomplish our goals. So I think that we're a great place to do that. There's a lot of activity around walk time, obviously, but also throughout the year. And so there's different opportunities depending what's happening. And so I think the best way to connect is by giving us a call.
Right. The amount of people that you guys help and the spectrum of people that you help, they're young, they're older, they're seniors, they're immigrants, they're natives. They're malnourished. They are somewhat nourished. They may be obese. I mean, what you're doing is you're creating awareness for a healthier America, and you're starting it right here in the state of Massachusetts. A lot has been started here in the state of Massachusetts, like the concept of walking for a change, right? Walk for Hunger. If you're just joining us, we talked a little bit about that. They're the pioneers behind that idea, and walking for a cause. Volunteers, reach out to these guys if you're looking to make an impact and you want to give back. You can reach out to Project Bread at www.projectbread.org. You can also give them a call, 617-723-5000. They're on Facebook at Facebook/Project Bread. They're also on Twitter at Walk for Hunger and Instagram at Project Bread. It's really it always kind of makes me feel happy-go-lucky when I've got people like you on the show. And I got to say thank you in regards to the effort that you're making on a citizen's perspective, because that's really all I am. I'm just a citizen here. And, there have been times where, I was growing up and I've probably been able to take advantage of the efforts of Project Bread without even realizing it. So thank you for that, too. It must give you a certain level of confidence. There's got to be something that you take home at the end of the day for doing what you do. When a lot of people can't say that in their day-to-day in their jobs. A lot of people kind of come away and they're like, work was fine.
Right.
I mean, but you probably come home and people are like, so how was your day? And you're like, I helped this guy named Steve and this girl named Tiffany, and somebody came back from a year ago. I mean, what are you taking away from this?
Well, I think, particularly when we have the Food Source Hotline, each day we're hearing stories of people who are working hard, struggling to make their ends meet and be able to put food on the table, but are reaching out for help, to apply for SNAP, to connect with the food pantry. And I think that those stories are real. It could be one medical issue that made someone unemployed that now they need help. And it could be you. Unemployment is still a real issue here in Massachusetts, although it's gotten better. And so the stories are those individuals who I think you feel like these programs are making a difference. When I go visit that Head Start program and I see all the veggies on the table, when we visit a school or a summer meal site here in Lynn and you see kids eating good food that they may not otherwise have access to, like we talked about it, how do people come together each day? Oftentimes you're eating with your family at night. I mean, food is central to people's lives, and not having that is such a crime. So I think that I take home every day that feeling that you're helping to have people, you know, get to the next spot. They can't get there without having a good meal each day. So yeah, I take that home.
Well, congratulations for doing something that you love. A lot of people can't say that in their day-to-day. Noreen Kelly, Director of Community Initiatives over at Project Bread. Project Bread, an organization which is dedicated at the state level to stamping out hunger. Some of their most famous or biggest reasons for being are the Walk for Hunger, of course, which happens on May 1st of every single year. And there's also another event, the Fall Harvest Fest, an annual event. It'll be happening on October 28th, 6 p.m. at the Boston Design Center. You can learn more information at www.projectbread.org. Reach out to them via phone, 617-723-5000. They're on Facebook, Facebook/Project Bread, on Twitter, @Walk for Hunger, and on Instagram, @Project Bread. Noreen, thank you so much for coming onto the program and giving us some insight. I really appreciate it. From the studio here at LynnCAM TV, that's it for the LynnCAM TV show. I'm Sean Donahue, wishing you all the best.
Thank you.